Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. It's that time of the week. It's time for the Security Token Show, which means Kyle and we have your latest security token news, tokenization of real world assets. We're here in sunny Miami. Hopefully, everyone else around the world is staying warm. Kyle, how are you doing this week, buddy?
Herwig, I am great. It is FII week here in Miami, so that's the innovation conference. There has been honestly a ton of talk around tokenization, which is fantastic. I've been running in and out of different events, but I'm so happy to be here. Unfortunately, I do got to step out for a phone call in our first segment here, but I'll be back for the middle of the show, Herwig. There's just so much to cover. Fortunately, you've got some backup with Nico.
Well, Kyle, I'm going to let you run. I understand it's been a lot of meetings this week, but man, tons of tokenization news to cover. So, folks, let's get right into it with the market movements. Hey, Nico, how are you? Welcome on to the show. Glad to have you back.
Hey, Eric. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. For those of you who don't know Nico, he is a partner at Blue Bay Ventures, one of the, if not the most prominent RWA-focused venture fund in the space. Also, we're a proud portfolio company of Blue Bay Ventures, and we love Nico's commentary, especially he brings it from Dubai, but also, of course, because he has sort of an inside scoop on the industry too. So, Nico, man, what a crazy week this week.
What a week, Herwig.
Are meme coins falling apart? Is the whole world is crypto
Absolutely.
finding a new identity again?
I want to thank the whole meme coin bros industry. Shout out to Hayden, I think Adams it is, for making a big mess from everything with these tokens. Big shout out to Dave Portnoy for bringing in all these new investors and people to these blockchains through these meme coins. Now people and the world can see why we have been preaching for many years that digital assets have to be, put in a regulated space where people know who they're dealing with, who their counterparts are, not these anonymous, let's rip each other off environments. No, this is not how the future of blockchain looks. The future of blockchain looks like the way we think it's going to look, and that's with digital assets security tokens. What do you think, Herwig?
Of course, I agree with you. I do want to say there's two Haydens that get thrown around. We don't want to throw the good Hayden. Hayden Adams is
the good Hayden.
Swap, So and he actually came out and said, hey, this is kind of how it goes. But Hayden Davis, the CEO of CalStream, this guy has, for those of you who don't know, obviously is in the spotlight right now for his work behind Libra and Melania. And when I say work, I mean the sniping and the guy who rugged everybody. And basically came out and said that he thought it was basically okay, and they always do. But
it shows that we need some good guidelines from the government in the US, to take this thing to the next level. And I think we're getting that. I just saw the message from Brian from Coinbase that the SEC is dropping their case against Coinbase, which is fantastic news, of course. This is major, in my opinion, before the weekend. This shows that this new administration in the US, wants to get going with this new capital formation in the digital space.
Yeah, it's we've seen it year after year in a different format. Right. And now hopefully we have an administration that will set the groundwork for a final clear format for the industry to adopt tokenization, whether it's digital assets, whether it's securities and assets, et cetera. So, hopefully this is the last big shakeup where people are fed up of getting their money taken from them in crypto.
Yeah, the positive thing about this whole meme coin frenzy is that it opens up the space for investors to not only look at EVMs and the Ethereum ecosystem, but go and look at Solana or maybe a Sui or maybe some other new type of blockchains where also digital assets can be harbored and can be dealt with, and maybe swifter and maybe even better than on Ethereum. So this opens up a broad scale of choices and options for especially people who want to tokenize on these digital ledgers. It's the good part of the whole drama which has been going on with meme coins in the last few days. So yeah, you see, there's always a good side and everything bad in the world. So
it'll be interesting to see what ETFs also get unleashed this year around those. Right, it goes beyond the thing.
Yeah, I hear that Litecoin is the next up. I don't know why, because Litecoin is like an old thing of the past. But I hear second in line is Solana, and that's when the real competition, in my opinion, starts. Going between the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, and the Solana approach from a blockchain angle and from an investment angle also.
Don't forget, Ripple will bribe their way in there.
Ripple
they will spend as much money to make sure that I think a Ripple ETF follows suit. So we'll see. Of course, that's another big SEC case. We want to see what happens with.
I think they will all. Most of them will drop, in my opinion.
I would think so. The industry is ready to move on and ready for clarity. So hopefully we're going to get it.
The US is ready to embrace tokenization, and this is such an important thing for the world, in my opinion. So yes.
Absolutely, I'd like to see ETFs for all of these products because it again legitimizes these ecosystems. Like you just said, there's a lot going on. Another one you could argue is Avalanche. They just saw Citi, Wellington, and Wisdom Tree conduct a proof of concept on their Spruce institutional test, their subnet, so that's very exciting to see because I think that brings a little bit of life back into that narrative, which has been distracted, I think, lately. And they did multiple applications here, Nico, and our listeners and viewers. They did using simulated identity credentials from Wisdom Tree. They were able to do different transfers, make it easier to kind of passport, I guess, as well as potentially using a private fund token as collateral, which they did in an automated fashion for using DTCC digital assets, aka securrency as it used to be known. So this was not just sort of a one-off. This was a very clearly serious application from some massive heavyweights, in the banking and asset management space. So, what do you think about this one, Nico?
These are very important developments in the current states of RWAs, because, in my opinion, what I see in the field when I research, the segment and the broader market worldwide. The two elements that are still missing is the liquidity angle. We're now onboarding TVL, but we need the trading of this TVL going on. That's still, in my opinion, lagging, and that comes along with the case that the identity check is still lagging in these blockchains. I'm very happy that we get this new ZK login type of approach where you can have various elements of identity checks, even in a privacy setting. So nobody knows who they're dealing with, but the system knows who they're dealing against, which needs to happen because, we need to know who we are dealing with on these blockchains. So these two elements are still missing. So this is the most important element for teams to be working on. And I know that identity is not always the most sexy thing to have. You want to onboard billions in your system, but a good identity system, somebody who can develop or build something that's very clever, like a Uniswap for IDs, call me.
Trust me, I follow you 100%. I hear it all the time from the institutional side. Even within a bank or a large asset manager, going within different services, customers have to sign up again. They don't even passport information within each
It's
other, right? Just
it's a
imagine
big
being able to
problem.
credential
Yes.
outside to other brokerages, to other banks and players. It just doesn't happen. But this is absolutely the use case and technology that can change all of that and hopefully make it a
Yes.
lot more seamless for us to be able to kind of take our data with us and be able to instantly, ideally, get to the point where it's instant to invest and qualify for deals. I got all my info. I got a soul-bound token. Says I'm accredited, KYC'd, AML'd.
Yes.
Boom, I show up. Now I can automatically transact into a deal instantly. That is the future, without a doubt.
Yes. And like the Web 2 is built set up today, it's all silos, silos on these protocols. No, these protocols have to talk to each other, and they have to, of course, have a privacy layer on top of that, but they need to exchange, and that was never possible in the current stage. So we need to also, from a regulatory side, I think there should be some regulatory adjustments coming for that, but I'm very hopeful.
I think so. I think especially with a lot of the different moves happening, SAB 121 being repealed and other things like that, we're going to see a big change in the infrastructure and the plumbing finally. And, I want to bring up another point, Nico, while we have you, which is bigger. Mike Cagney, a legend having started SoFi, is very active in the RWA space. A lot of people know him from have already done billions in HELOCs that they've done. They have their own Provenance blockchain that they spun out and have available to tokenize on. And now, of course, they're using that very same chain for Figure to launch their YLDS Yieldcoin, which I think is super exciting. For one, Nico, I think this is going to be a huge year for Figure. I think they're about to come out the gate with a lot that they have been building. They've been doing a lot already, but they're going to come out with a whole lot more with their Figure markets and a lot of other infrastructure they've been working out. And frankly, this is the sign I think we need, that they're done building over here while everyone else is over here. And they're saying, guess what? We're coming. We're going to play in the arena too. Obviously, the Yieldcoin game is the hottest game in town right now. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. What are your thoughts, Nico?
I think I mentioned this already a few times, that the Tether business model is dead already, and nobody seems to know that or see that. But I think Tether also mentioned something of an announcement that they're coming out with a yield variant of their the most popular stablecoin in the world, Tether. Because why would you not disrupt this type of margin in such an easy product, digitally distributed also? It's a logical step for everybody to go, and the yield coins are the new place to be.
I'm telling you, the moment people accept yield coins as the equivalent currency, why would anyone ever take a stable coin? Just pay me in yield coin. Thanks.
Done.
Next up, so excited to see Figure. Next up, we saw a big move from DigiFT out of Singapore. Okay, tokenizing with Invesco, one of their existing $6.3 billion funds. So I'm not quite sure if this is a feeder fund or exactly what they're doing. But they say it allows institutional investors to buy tokenized shares of this fund, which is yet again a sign of life here. But this is another private credit fund. So private credit also we've seen with Tradable putting billions, almost 2 billion on chain. A lot of other private credit activity coming on here with Apollo as well, right? So any thoughts on this one, Nico?
Not specifically on the deal, but the broader scope of where we started. I think we started onboarding like 10 million in the first products in 2022. I think it was in the back end, and then we went to 50 to 100 million type of products in 2023. And 2024, it became 500 million here and 100 million there, and all of a sudden, maybe a billion and a billion, and now it's billions. 2025. It's like we said it up front. It's the way to move forward. There's trillions to be tokenized, and it has to be done in a few years, in my opinion. So this is the logical way forward. It's billions every week now.
Yeah, and all the signs are coming, right? This fund also offers daily liquidity, right? Like
Yeah,
these are the tools that we've been preaching about. They're here. They just needed time. They needed
yeah,
real
yeah.
players, real infrastructure, and real product to work on that. And that's how you also saw UBS. It's worth mentioning. DigiFT, keep an eye on them because they also power UBS's UMIT product, and that's a tokenized money market fund. That now also is supported by Copper. We saw that happen in the news, by the way. But the last thing I want to talk about with you, Nico, here is actually Arbitrum, who I think led the way in the crypto space of showing how it's done last summer with their STEP program, which essentially enabled a goal of taking 1%, I think it was, of their reserves and putting it into RWAs. Okay. And they did that into 6 different products, about $35 million worth, I think. And amazing results already, Nico. They said it's returned almost $500,000 from the yield. That's real money that was stable, reliable, did not come from a volatile, token sale or anything like that from Arbitrum. And more importantly, they are committing even more. Okay, so they're going to commit another roughly 15.5 million, another 35 million ARB to their STEP program, to doing more RWAs. It's unclear if it's going to be the same 6 products, Nico, which I think was like Biddle and Superstay and a bunch of other ones, Open Eden and the like. Let's see if they do the same strategy, or if there's a new vote, a new set of product diversity, or if they go less diversity and concentrate more on one. It'll be interesting to see.
No, I think they will do more, because I hear you talking about all these new terrific products coming online. Why wouldn't you diversify in all these new? You're also investing, if you do this as an ecosystem like Arbitrum. You're also investing in it's a BD angle also. It's not only a profit for the treasury or an income for the treasury. It's also a BD function to get teams connected to your team. Yeah, and I always said I like what the Arbitrum team does. I think I like them the most of all the L2s. Maybe it's because they're one of the first movers over there. They know the game very well. They're a very savvy team. They pick also the right teams to invest in if they drop rewards in ARP tokens. But I think, most of of course, they can always invest more, but I think they've done most of what they want to do at the moment. So why not indeed invest all these treasuries into yield products which are coming online, and building the stash, and hoping that one day the US government will say, the ARP token, you guys have my blessing. Distribute it to these people who hold the token. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I'm looking at it the other way too. I think the future is going to look a whole lot like these yield coins competing with their own airdrops and perks and benefits. So there might just be a reason to want to own a bunch of these, not just a few. So anyway, Nico, that's all we got for our market movements. Anything you wanted to close on?
Looking forward to March, because I think we'll have an up month, Herwig.
Oh yeah,
finally an up month this year.
Let's see what happens. It's going to be an exciting March. Hopefully you'll join us again next week. Nico, glad to have you. Now it's time for an awesome interview with Aaron from Avant, as well as, of course, with Jason, who's going to lead that interview. So I'll pop it right over to him. Let's move on with the show.
Thank you, Herwig. Appreciate that handoff there. And yes, welcome everyone to another Security Token Show interview. This week we have Avant Finance's very own product manager, Aaron Goldblum. Aaron, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Jason? Great to be here.
Fantastic. I'm doing great as well. Thank you. We saw fantastic news this week coming out of you guys, which is that you finally launched your platform, Avant Finance. Tell us about what Avant Finance is, and a little bit of background quickly on, Mara, the company behind it.
Sure. So yeah, a little background there. I'm Aaron Goldblum. I'm a product manager at Mara Holdings Incorporated. Mara Holdings is the largest publicly traded Bitcoin mining company in the United States. Digital asset compute is our bread and butter. We mine Bitcoin all throughout the United States, as well as a variety of different countries internationally. We have a great variety of technology initiatives, from hardware, software, firmware, some really great strategies that we're looking into as well, in the vein of energy harvesting, on-site power, and so much more. And the team that I've been focused on for the past couple of months has been an incubation unit known as Avant, or Avant Finance. Avant Finance is a platform in which individual issuers can tokenize assets on a Bitcoin sidechain, and investors can go onto this site and explore these assets and perhaps diversify their portfolios and understand the technology of how can I put a real world asset on the Bitcoin sidechain and in turn have it represented on the Bitcoin blockchain. Got it. So real quick, tell me a little bit why Bitcoin out of all the blockchains that you guys could choose from. Why Bitcoin the blockchain? And then I do have a follow up on that, but we'll start there. Sure. So philosophically, Bitcoin's security is incredibly important going forward. As the halvings take place every 4 years, we want to ensure, as Bitcoin miners, as validators of the network, that the incentive mechanism remains in the form of transaction fees. So we're hoping, not just for us as a company, but for all Bitcoin miners broadly, that there is an incentive mechanism, not 4 years from now, but 400 years from now. And when the block subsidy goes down to zero, we're going to hope that there's robust transaction volume on the Bitcoin blockchain, whether that be through side chains or applications built right on chains. We've seen great use cases like ordinals and BRC20s, whatnot in the past. So we're hoping that that robust transaction volume leads to a more enhanced Bitcoin ecosystem. And in turn, maybe it raises the price of Bitcoin, but more importantly, it increases and maintains the incentive mechanism to validate those transactions. Got it. So that makes sense. But I also do have to ask, is there a risk of siloing off from other DeFi applications? What kind of environment is there right now built on Bitcoin to support RWAs versus maybe what you'd see on other blockchains in the space? Yeah, I think that's a really good question. It's a matter of brand. I think Bitcoin has a really great brand. Perhaps these large Bitcoin whales wouldn't want to put or bridge their Bitcoin or sell their Bitcoin and transfer it to a different asset to be involved in a different chain. So hopefully the fact that there are builders like, the builders that are building Avant Finance, other sorts of DeFi projects on Bitcoin that will continue to build in a very robust way so that there is that ecosystem that Bitcoiners can enjoy and not have to worry about bridging to other platforms or other ecosystems. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a maxi. I think that there's room for Solana real world assets, much like there are Solana meme coins and Ethereum meme coins. I think Ethereum's great as well. And there's a bunch of these other really great projects, public chains specifically, that I think could really thrive all together, much like there are different websites right now that we all use for different things. Got it. Okay, so you guys are building on Bitcoin. I know a friend of our show, Vertalo, is involved as well, with you guys, which is fantastic. Tell us real quick, what maybe are some of the assets that you expect to be hosting on the Avant platform, and what can we expect next throughout the course of this year from you guys? Sure. Yeah, I think when it comes to what can we expect, anything under the sun, really. So currently we're in a pilot phase, so I would consider this a very soft launch. We haven't really done much marketing around it yet. We're seeing some really great feedback from those that are interested in using the platform from an issuer and investor standpoint. And with that being said, it can really be anything from commodities, real estate, private equity, securities, funds as well, which could be made up of securities and commodities alike. So really, the platform's built to be asset agnostic. And we look forward to exploring, after the pilot, data is extracted, what assets can be most successful on a platform like Avant. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Aaron, so much for joining us on the show today. We'll be moving on to the next section of the show. Thanks so much, Jason. Great to be here. Bye.
Welcome back, Kyle, and thank you, Jason, for that awesome interview with Aaron. I just love to see the largest public company focused on Bitcoin mining in the world working on tokenization, Kyle. That just gives me some goosebumps. But we've got even more news, don't we?
That's right. That's right. First off, we've got a tokenization segment update. We've got Thailand, one of the largest economies in Southeast Asia, has announced that they are launching a $148 million bond, digital bond offering. It's 5 billion of their local currency, the baht. And they are going to be bringing that to market this year on their digital bond platform, which I think there are rumors that it's the one that they announced earlier this month through their sandbox. And so they actually quoted saying that they anticipate there's going to be lower management costs by using these digital tools. And so it bypasses traditional bank counters, which allows them to reduce the investment minimums that people need to participate. It's only about $30, Herwig, or 1,000 bahts in order to participate in these bond offerings. And this is a significant increase from the earlier pilot that they ran last year, which was about a $6 million bond. Now this is $148 million. So we're talking about a 20 to 25x increase in the size of the issuance. So we'll have to see how this actually goes for them. If they have a lot of success, it seems like certainly they're pretty sold on the idea through the first pilot. And this is good proof that as we've covered a lot of these pilots, a lot of these sandboxes on the show over the course of the last 18 to 24 months, that does lead to larger and more substantial issuances. It may take longer than a lot of people in tech or crypto want to see, but this is a good example of them building on those building blocks to launch a greater and greater project.
150 million, as you said, it's 5,000 baht, 5 billion baht offering. You got to look at it their perspective. This is no longer proof of concept territory. This is the real deal commercial use, I think. They even say it'll be tradable. Which, I'm excited to have my eyes on this because I'm a believer in bond tokenization big time, Kyle. And what also I think was pretty cool that I want to bring up is DatoDurian. Okay, this is the durian fruit. This is one of Malaysia's first live agricultural tokenization projects, they say. Apparently, I was doing some research. It's like $1 billion or maybe even a $10 billion market. Jason, can we bring up one of these fruits? Are you able to look one of these up real quick? Look at this. This is the durian fruit. I'm loving it. This is actually apparently completely sold out in their private sale, and they'll be doing a public sale on Mantra as their blockchain. And they say this is a first for Malaysia and obviously for durians. And I think it's supposed to be a delectable, pretty luxurious fruit out in Asia. Not so sure. It certainly looks cool. But
it has a crazy smell, bro. When I was in Asia for a couple of months and had to miss a few shows earlier last year, it's a crazy pungent fruit. You actually are not allowed to eat it on like inside or in subways or on trains or public transportation. There's literally like stickers or signs that have a cross through the durian fruit because they don't allow you to eat it in confined spaces. But it is seen as a delicacy in a lot of these countries. So it's a fascinating one.
Well,
moving into the next thing.
One more.
Yeah, we do. This is Kadena, which is a layer 1 proof of work blockchain. And they actually launched a $25 million grant program supporting real world asset projects. So they did release their RWA token standard through Kadena, and presumably they're looking to build grants or launch grants for companies that are looking to launch private credit, debt, alternative assets, real estate, digital identity, compliance, and other real world use cases for tokenization. So this is an EVM compatible solution, and they take inspiration. Actually, they quote in their article Tokeny, who relaunched their T-Rex standard, the ERC 3643 standard. Kadena has actually taken inspiration directly from one of those industry pioneers at Tokeny to launch some of their projects. And they are looking to launch these things over the next 12 to 24 months in terms of this grant program. So if you're building on RWA rails. If you're open to working with new providers or looking to build interoperability, but still want the beauty of the EVM compatibility, perhaps look at Kadena, try to find a way to reach out to their team to see if the grant program can help ease your ability.
Absolutely. Love to see that boost for the industry there. Good stuff. Kadena leading the way on that. And Kyle, I also have a whole stablecoin update for us real quick.
Yeah, do it.
Lots of activity here. We saw StockGen's Forge. They have their Euro CV, EURCV token. Right, that's actually now expanding to Stellar. And by the way, they also mentioned it's going to head to Solana and the XRP ledger too. So we're getting a lot of sort of household names being chosen for RWAs here. It was, of course, originally on Ethereum. So it kind of goes to show you this multi-chain world where the popular choices seem to be. But we also saw another kind of institutional token coming to market here from Standard Chartered, Animoca Brands, and HKT in a joint venture, okay, for a Hong Kong dollar stable coin. It's coming out of a sandbox. It's not clear exactly which chain, but obviously it's got all the right partners and other regulatory guys to bring a Hong Kong dollar stable coin in the market. The era of just US dollar stable coins, I think, is behind us now, because furthermore, we also saw the Africa Stablecoin Consortium launched the CNGN, which is a Naira pegged stable coin. Okay. So another stable coin. There are no banks involved in this one, but it is approved supposedly by the Nigerian SEC out of their regulatory incubation program. So it is legit, but mostly fintechs. And there's supposedly an exchange, Busha, that's already trading or offering, to purchase this CNGN token. And last but not least, we also saw the EURQ, another euro-based stablecoin, this time in partnership with NPEX, which is a licensed, regulated token platform marketplace out in the Netherlands, as well as Quantaz, a stablecoin partner, and Dusk, which we've seen making waves with their recent, I think it was another mainnet launch we announced a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago now. So they're bringing a stable coin to the market. So two Euro stable coins starting to make moves out here. We'll see what kind of adoption they get. Kyle, any thoughts on this stable coin momentum this week?
Well, it's fascinating what you talked about in the rise of other stable coins. And I have seen that here in Miami, meeting with many different individuals that represent nations around the world. They see the writing on the wall. They see not only the opportunity of launching stable coins and the profitability behind that because of the float that you can monetize. They also see the opportunity of backing these things to commodities that they have in their exports. And of course, there is the obvious one, which is dominance in this new transactional world. If you don't have your currency in this digital economy, you're giving up all that real estate to the US dollar. And I think that a lot of the proponents of stablecoins, even within regulators who are anti-crypto, see it as a way to keep delivering dollar dominance around the world. I think there's other countries that want a piece of that as well.
Well, Kyle, I completely agree with you. It's going to play out interesting. The first great RWA use case that's going to lead into the rest of the tokenization of all assets and securities.
That's right.
And I want to end our segment here, Kyle, on a little shout out to the team at Particular, once again dropping another amazing report for the industry, for investors, for everybody to read. They gave a AA plus rating here, okay, to the Ultra Fund, which is managed by Wellington, but is actually issued by Fundbridge, I believe. And pretty cool stuff. I actually think another Yieldcoin, right? U.S. Treasury tied. But another big issuer. I think they're also part of the Nexus with Ondo, if I'm not mistaken. But, this is another sort of yield coin that I think has gone a little under the radar. In particular, is going to put a little spotlight on it. So if you want to go check out that rating and their insights on why they gave out that rating, they have a great report you can go check out. Again, just a huge fan of the Particular team. And not just because they're also RWA Foundation members, which I got a great update for you coming up next. Whew, what a week. Another week of so much going on behind the scenes. I just saw the craziest video ever. Y'all are going to absolutely love it. It's going to blow your mind. The team did an incredible job. Ooh, what a teaser. I can't say any more other than wow. You're going to love this video. So we got a great trailer / teaser coming for the Wally DAO. That's obviously the big news. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this is, of course, our new segment on the RWA Foundation. Okay, this is our crypto initiative to bring together the biggest players in the space, biggest pioneers and builders, as well as the entire crypto native community that loves RWAs, and focus on creating not just a community, but a bridge into DeFi and really endorsing this technology in a crypto native way. And that's why we're launching the Wally DAO. We've got a whole white paper you can go check out where we talk about very cool grant programs, a very cool treasury program we've got in mind. There's a lot of other different mechanics to support the industry. We're going to be announcing some working groups, as I mentioned, very soon with our different partners. So again, you're going to have to just wait a little bit longer because we're kind of just holding everything up to be able to release a whole lot of flurry of news all at once and nonstop from there. So, been a little silent, but on the update front, other than we've got some new members to announce, congratulations to Etherfuse and AgriDex. We'll be putting a spotlight on you soon. And of course, come check out our Telegram. We're having awesome conversations and discussions and debates even about different RWAs and solutions and what the future looks like. So stay tuned for more, and let's head on to Companies of the Week. Our show's coming to an end, Kyle. You know what that means.
It means that it's time for the Companies of the Week, the most important segment of the show, Herwig, I would say. Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree because it's such an incredibly illustrious award, isn't it?
It is. It's like the Grammys, but for tokenization. Like, are you really a tokenization company if you haven't been nominated for Companies of the Week? And that's no shade to some of the amazing companies that may have not won it yet. It just means to keep trying harder. You think about a guy like Leonardo DiCaprio. He didn't win his first Oscar until he was almost 50 years old, right? And just he's made a lot of great movies. And so there's a lot of great companies to pick from. And that's why it's such an important award, because we have so many pieces of news each week, and it forces Herwig and myself to pick one each, only one company that does something innovative. And it's not always the same standard every week, because sometimes, you might want to decide to give it to the biggest news of the week. Sometimes it's the biggest company of the week who might drive in additional adoption, like me with Toyota last week, no pun intended. You also might have a particular, thing that's fascinating or novel or innovative in a way that's just unique, and that deserves credit. So I think that it's a fascinating award from our perspective, because we really try to be unbiased with it and pick something that just, for whatever reason, caught our eye and we wanted to give a shout out to this particular week. And of course, it does nominate you for the Company of the Year award. That's one company of all of the choices. That's of every news article. We then have to pick two each week, and then we can only pick one of all of those two choices to win Company of the Year. It is a tough choice each year, and that comes just at the new year. We just recently awarded our most recent one, didn't we, Herwig?
We did, to BlackRock, no less. But out of almost basically 100 companies to choose from, because everybody makes great movies, if we're using the analogy, all year long. There's one that has to be the best. And frankly, there were two great ones this week, I think.
I think so.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. I think that it's a good segue into my Company of the Week winner, because this company you may not have heard of before, almost certainly haven't, especially if you're a Western listener. You may not have even heard of what they're tokenizing before. We had to bring a picture of it up on the screen because many people may not know what it looks like or what it smells like. You certainly can't forget it once you have, though. It's like a weird blue cheesy kind of smell, but it is a delicacy. And I wanted to give my Company of the Week to DatoDurian, because I think this is really fun. We've talked 1,000 times over about how I'm a commodities tokenization guy. I just think that it's a really healthy way to build liquidity, especially in these emerging markets where a startup equity is going to be, a tough one from in some of these emerging markets. Whereas if they're doing commodity, it's fungible anywhere around the world. We can find a market for that. So I think that that's exciting. It's also, I think, a cool cultural asset, right? This is not just a bond or a stable coin or something boring. This is something that really means something to this community. I think that it's what, gives the soul to a lot of this tokenization effort, in that it's a fungible commodity. I think it's a good use case from a financial asset perspective, but B, it's fun, it's novel, it's interesting. And I think that that's kind of a really cool component of tokenization as well, is that you're going to unlock new investment opportunities you never thought before were possible. So for all of those reasons, I wanted to give a cool shout out to DatoDurian for tokenizing fruits that you may have not even heard about before we got on the show today.
Oh, yeah. I'd seen the fruit before. I wasn't quite sure what it was called. But I got to say, Kyle, can we bring that fruit up again? I want to see it again. Look at that. Look at that.
Apparently, when it's ripe, Herwig, it's kind of like a pudding style of consistency. It's really just it's an odd, everything around there is odd.
Everything about the durian, man. I can see why it's such a delicacy. But congrats to DatoDurian. Absolutely love that. Super, super well deserved.
And how about you?
Well, Kyle, I gotta give it out to a company that I think is leading by example. And I hope that many, many other L1s and L2s will continue to follow in this footsteps, which is my company of the week is Kadena. Okay, because of their RWA grant program. Okay, they also released their awesome standard, so that you can take advantage of RWA tokenization on their blockchain, right? But the idea of bringing in a grant program to help incentivize builders and developers and entrepreneurs to get not just RWAs on your ecosystem, but also all of the infrastructure that comes with it to make it an awesome blockchain to build on. I think this is a great testament. $25 million is no small chunk of change, Kyle. So I hope others, again, follow in Kadena's footsteps. And by the way, big fan of their chief business officer, Annalise Osborne. Believe it or not, Kyle, she's actually in our background. Of course, we feature our amazing book that we wrote, Blockchain Explained, but one of the few other ones we have actually back here, we have the RWA Summit Real World Vine there, but we also have From Hoodies to Suits, okay, by Annalise Osborne. It's a great book, absolutely recommended as well, about the transformation of what's happening with blockchain and finance, what we're talking about all day. And now she's over there helping asset tokenization over there at Kadena. So bit of a fanboy, but also Kadena, good stuff with that grant program. Everybody go check it out. Maybe apply if you think you're a good fit. Kadena, my company of the week.
I think it's a great choice. The grant programs are really needed. A lot of the brokers, a lot of the issuers, they need some help in getting over that hump from a technological perspective, as well as just a lot of costs involved. And so I love this initiative by Kadena to help drive the industry forward. And certainly Tokeny, longtime friends of the show. I think that they're building great technology. So inspiring the standard based off of some of the most reputable companies in the industry is also a very good sign for what Kadena is building.
Well, Kyle, that is all we have to offer our listeners this week for the show. Of course, please, if you enjoyed the show, give us a like. Make sure you subscribe. Share this. It would mean so much. Tag us or leave us a comment. Really, otherwise, go check out stm.co. We've got all the latest RWA data, the public blockchain data, permission data, everything we can find. Because guess what? There's tens of billions in bonds and funds and equities and other assets that we're tracking, over 60 billion on stm.co. And we've got a huge announcement coming up next week about Tokenize This as well. So get ready for that one.
I can't wait.
Kyle, what's up in your world? Anything you want to leave the viewers with?
Well, globalsettlement.com, things have been moving really, really quickly on our front. So if you have commodities that you're looking to tokenize, specifically on the private credit trade finance side, I want to talk to you. We have kind of outstanding demand with respect to that on the buy side. So the more that I can get commodities allocations, the better right now.
Amazing. Well, you heard the man. Go reach out to Kyle. He's available everywhere. And he'll be with us again next week on Friday, presumably. So with that, everybody, enjoy the weekend. And of course, happy tokenizing.